Hey yo, shout out to the top percent. I'm Rattle Joey,
Now, Maxon.
and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of FutureSight. Today we're going to be covering the current Battle Road season. Now, I know we're already halfway through it, so this is going to seem like old news. It would be best to actually see this episode as, how the format has started, so you can look at what people are playing now and get an idea of what's going to be the play for regionals and cities, covering what's being played at and winning at current Battle Roads, and how this should affect the upcoming season. I mean, a lot of people will look at Autumn Battle Roads and think it doesn't really matter, it's low point value and people aren't taking it seriously, but it does actually show you the shape of the format and what people will be playing later, whether what they're going to counter, what they're going to expect to see. So right now we'll just look at the top 3 decks that are actually doing well at Battle Roads at the moment. The numbers I've got in front of me right now are actually showing the top 3 decks to be Electrics, Darkrai Hydreigon, and surprisingly enough, Ho-Oh, of all things. I think we should actually basically look at Ho-Oh, see if we can work out how it got there.
Well, the other 2 decks, so probably it's a no-brainer how they got there, but Ho-Oh seems to be the big standout because there's a lot of other decks. I mean, Hammer Time and Garbodor and lots of other known decks along these lists, but it's Ho-Oh that seems to be winning the most.
It's the biggest, what I'd like to call, rogue. I don't know if it's been bigger in the States than it has in the UK, but a lot of people over here haven't really looked at Ho-Oh as an option. I can see the appeal of it, the whole if you use an Ultra Ball to dump a Ho-Oh, you could then try and keep using Ho-Oh's ability until you get it out with 3 energy. It does offer some acceleration, but his damage output doesn't seem to be the most massive thing ever. If I just get the stats in front of me now, let's see, it's 3 energy for 20 plus 20 more damage for each different type of basic energy. So if you've used his rebirth ability, got 3 different energies, you'll be swinging 3 for 80. It isn't the best thing ever, but
I'm guessing, what's it weak to? Is it weak to water?
Weak to water, resists fighting. I mean, the resists fighting might be a big part of it. I mean, in this current format, its biggest challenges are going to be Eels, which don't really hit for weakness. Darkrai Hydreigon, 2 shots like it does every other X. You've got quite a bit of Terrakion here in both the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Yeah, basically 4 whole slots in a row have Terrakion built into them somehow. So the whole fact that you can see that Terrakion's gotten played a lot, so resisting Terrakion and Terrakion X seems to actually be something good to do. And
that seems to be the general deck list for Ho-Oh.
I have to say thanks for Max for actually finding me a list all of a sudden. I'm actually liking their choice of starter for it, at least.
I can see kind of start seeing now how the deck works.
It seems that a standard list is 4 Tornadus and 4 Ho-Oh for everyone at home who can't see what I've got in front of me right now. Mostly Rufflet can search out everything in the deck right now. It allows you to, for 1 colorless, search out 2 Pokemon with fighting resistance. So you've got Tornadus, you've got Ho-Oh. Another important part of this deck is going to be its energy lineup. It's quite bulky energy lineup. Right now it's 2 of each standard energy type. So that's 16 energy there, and then 4 double colorless. Now, I can see where this is already coming from. As you said, it becomes pretty relevant when you actually see it in front of you. You do have the whole fact that Tornadus can attack for 80 and move one of those energies back, making it a variable attachment for the turn, allowing you to charge the Ho-Ohs on your bench. If you pitch a Ho-Oh to the discard pile, you can easily pick it up, put a couple of different types on, and you can start swinging for 80s, 100s, maybe even 120. I mean, this list here is running 4 energy switch, making it so that if you think your Ho-Oh's going to drop anytime soon, you can start switching to another one all of a sudden. Also, we do have obvious cards like Eviolite, which do turn around and say, oh, what, do you want any Terrakion? I resist you for 40. What's that? Retaliate doesn't do anything unless I've just knocked something out. You don't want me knocking things out though, do you? And, the damage being boosted to 50 in total after losing something, it's not really worth it, is it? So you can see why it's, it's basically can neuter Terrakion right there. What else was it dealing with? It was also dealing with Darkrai Hydreigon. I could see this potentially being faster.
I'm still looking through some Ho-Oh deck lists at the moment. But as for the general consensus seems to be to try and pitch Ho-Oh as fast as possible and get on the field by turn 1 or turn 2.
Well, looking at this, because you're running so much energy, cards like Juniper combined with Ho-Oh's ability, it's just lethal, because you're bound to have quite a bit of energy in hand.
Yeah.
So, Juniper, pitch at these 3 energy and a Ho-Oh. Get 1 heads and you can swing for 80 turn 1. See, I didn't actually check its retreat cost. Retreat cost of...
I believe it's 1.
No, it's 2.
Is it 2? Oh.
Yeah, it's heavier than I thought it was. So I'm surprised to see this list isn't running normal switch, the one in front of me. It's got Skyward Bridge, so Ho-Oh's cost goes down to 1. Tornadoes becomes 0. Rufflet's 3 as well, I believe. So you've already got a heavy potential for huge damage there.
Definitely.
I mean, personally, I always thought that Ho-Oh wouldn't be that big, just due to consistency issues. I mean, it's like you really want it, turn 1 or turn 2, you want that Ho-Oh, you want it charged. But the whole fact that you could miss that ability turn after turn.
Yeah, that's true.
The only way I can
I suppose it's a very coin flippy deck.
I mean, I could see it being beneficial if you can pitch 2 Ho-Ohs.
Yeah.
It's like where you have 2 attempts a turn to get 1 out. It's like if you're having a really unlucky deck. Still, it's topped 10 battle roads in the state so far, which is twice as much as the closest competitor, which is Hammer Time. I think Hammer Time would be the more consistent list. It's the one getting guaranteed 2 coin tosses a turn.
The problem with Hammer Time is the fact that it's lost Junkam now.
True. Yeah, a lot of people actually said losing Smeargle has really wrecked it, but to be honest, I don't think losing Smeargle really cripples Hammer Time. You can still go for your hammers as much as you need.
Yeah,
it slows you down a little, but then again it slows down every deck a little. So, we'll get back to the top 3 anyway. No surprise to us, we've got Darkrai Hydreigon chilling up there, just doing its thing. It was basically just doing the inverse of what Gothitelle did back when Emerging Powers first got released. So we can see it hanging around for a short while unless something happens in the format to just completely topple it.
Like Landorus X.
I could see Landorus X actually having some kind of impact. Whether it is the card to use or whether it's actually being overhyped right now has yet to be seen. But yeah, I can see it does have decent potential at least. But really, I don't think we get... The next set boundaries crossed is released in November. Yep. I believe regionals start in early October, don't they? Over here?
Maybe? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I believe it's first week of October for us, isn't it? I know we've got a tournament then. It's definitely regionals in states at that point because Vanguard Nationals are at the same time as one of them. I think it's Sheffield.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So it's definitely October for regionals. So we're not going to have a Landorus X around for regionals. So Darkrai Hydreigon probably still going to be huge net to look out for. I mean, 45 tops in the states. And here's another surprise for us, mostly due to the fact that we both thought that Darkrai Hydreigon stopped this, but the top deck currently is actually electric variants.
With the new Rayquaza, I imagine.
Yeah, Rayquaza, if you can just get 1 or 2 eels running for a turn or 2 just to get the extra attachments on your field, Rayquaza can allow you to dominate.
Yeah.
It's probably the one thing in format that can consistently one-shot everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, 3 energies to knock out any X that isn't EV-related.
I assume that because the top decks at the moment are all running EXs, it's going to make Sigilyph a much more popular tech now.
I can see it being a huge tech, especially as the one reason to not run Sigilyph. I mean, everyone expected Garchomp Altaria to be like one of the big decks.
Yeah, that's true.
The pre-orders on Garchomp were pretty much the same price as a regular X that wasn't hyped. It was like, what, $14, $15?
Something like that.
Yeah, we've got Garchomp at
7.
Yeah, wait, no, 8th on the list.
Well, yeah, but it's only got 7, only 7 top total.
Yeah, true.
And it's not 1-1.
I know, it's not really won anything. It's like, you got Darkrai Zoroark and Empoleon Excelgor Mew X are doing better than Garchomp Altaria. I mean, Garchomp Altaria's, seeing looking at those rogues and saying, well, I've got more tops than you, I've got 7 top cuts. It's not won a single one. Mostly because even though it has an amazing early game, it can be set up turn 2 and have a very powerful board, that's all it really has. Its damage output is really limited. Altaria is too flimsy.
I think the other factor is that your main attackers are in stage 2 as well.
True. I mean, as I said though, you can pretty much have stage 2 ready to go in this deck because of the Gabite. You know, because Gabite has that Dragon Call, it's able to actually grab stuff out, make some real use of it. That's the whole reason you can have a powerful field turn 2. But conversely, everything is pretty fragile.
Yeah.
Like Garchomp's hit points aren't huge. I mean, at best, you two-shot an X. If they take away the second Altaria, well, yeah, you're three-shotting X's.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have 2 Altaria out at all times.
It doesn't help that the Rayquaza X can actually dominate pretty easily, dominate faster than Garchomp.
True.
It only needs 2 energy, or even 1 energy to knock out anything on your board.
1 energy until you actually get to the Garchomp itself, and then
Yeah, exactly.
You know, do you run plus power? 1 energy, 1 plus power. That's a dead Garchomp. It's a case of, yeah, it can turn around and get rid of your special energies, but decks like Darkrai Hydreigon, you don't really sweat about your special energies, because you can always replace them with basics, and you can even accelerate basics in Darkrai Hydreigon. And Rayquaza builds just turn around and say, oh, what, you got rid of my Prism Energy or my, Fire Blaze Blend Energy? I'm not really sweating this at all. I run the basic Fire Energy, mostly because they want to attach that basic Fire Energy.
Yeah.
They want it on Rayquaza, they want it on the Raikou that they might have. Because a Raikou with 1 Fire Energy on it, it's lethal. Got 2 Eels and I'm fully charged in a turn. Get 2 of these, so it's good night Irene, your bench dies. Sorry, your bench is not kept. I mean, I'll be honest, Garchomp Altaria, with the hype it received, I am so surprised to see it so far down the list.
I guess it was just overhyped, I guess. Whereas one of those decks. Again, stage 2 deck in this format is very hard to keep up with all the basics.
Yeah, true.
I suppose it's not the fact it's a stage 2 deck, I suppose because your main attack is a stage 2.
Yeah, it does struggle to keep up at the moment.
I suppose that's one thing that the Rayquaza electric deck does have, is the fact that it doesn't have any stage 2 Pokemon. It doesn't rely on Candy at any point.
True, it has has a stage 1, which you can have out turn 2 of it, very consistently. And apart from the actual your stage 1, everything is pretty much free retreat in this deck. So Catcher has a very minimal impact against it.
Except for Eel.
Except Eel, yeah. But of course you're going to be running at least 2 or 3 Switch in this format.
Yeah.
Well, Catcher is pretty much staple, so it's a minimum of 3 Switch in the format, unless you're running something like Darkrai. And even then, 1 or 2 Switch is advised. Because as I mentioned, decks like Rayquaza can very easily run the Raikou. And as you've seen yourself in actually against the Electric, the Raikou deck, the Raikou's first attack for paralysis can cost you a turn.
Yeah.
Switch. Well, Switch or Super Scoop Up. To be honest, I do actually I like the merits of Super Scoop Up, it being an extra heal type card, but it all depends on whether you want guaranteed switch or you want to go for a coin toss for an additional heal.
I suppose to really Darkrai wants so much heal anyway.
I mean, there's some surprise entries I can see here though. I mean, like Empoleon, Stunfisk, Roserade. It only has 1 top 4, but I think it deserves merit just for what it is. It's like, who thought of this? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's actually not a bad idea overall. I mean, the Stunfisk is probably it's an underrated basic. The fact that 1 fighting energy, you can put 2 20s on the field.
Yeah. To be honest though, as again, once we have Landorus X,
Landorus X will outclass it, yeah. But at the moment, it's like I nearly do the job, and I'm a 100 hit point basic. That only gives it 1 prize, so it's pretty much the same damage to prize ratio as Landorus X.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. So guys, get practicing with your Stunfisks. I do like how we've got 2 top 4s that both feature Roserade though.
Yeah.
It is a good ability to have. It's just finding the way to use it.
Yeah, it's just basically an extra consistency card.
True. I mean, you've also got Devolutor, so you can use it over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, especially in decks that actually, the 2 decks that's in are actually Roserade and Zoroark. I think that itself actually holds merit because both your lines are fully evolving. So if your opponent puts a heavy status on you, you you don't really have too much damage to worry about, you can just devolute,
Yes.
get it out there, and then re-evolve next turn, or basically devolute, evolve something else, switch. It does
That's
give you
fair.
more options, so you can, you've got another reason to run devolute, devolution spray in there. You could use Rose Raid, you can get, your arcs going, or
Yeah.
your Empoleons.
I did like the Rosary when it was first announced. The ability seemed good, but I didn't think it would actually make it into any actual decks.
I think by the time we hit regionals, it probably won't be in any decks anymore. Just because it's top 4 twice really, and that's pretty much it. Which is a shame because it's not a bad card. It's a great ability. If it was on anything else, if it's on something that could attack or had like a million hit points, then yeah, it would be used all over the place.
Yeah.
But because it's basically made as a tech card, it's not really being hyped that heavily or run that hard.
Yeah. I suppose though if we get a better Rosary down the line, it might be run. But yeah, so that's the top 3.
Well, top 3, the surprise that Garchomp Altaria isn't there.
Yeah.
I am liking the fact that a lot of people are trying to make Empoleon work. We've got Empoleon Terrakion on here, Empoleon Excelgor and Mew, and right at the bottom, as I mentioned, Empoleon Stunfisk and Roserade. So Empoleon is still in the format. I mean, Empoleon's oddly enough doing better than Garchomp in one of its 3 variants.
I suppose because Empoleon has the bigger damage output for the minimal cost.
Yeah, true. It's it can punch your opponent for setting up, and the best variant seems to be Empoleon Terrakion. Mostly because, as you said, it's a minimal energy cost. Attach that 1 water, EXP share onto Terrakion, and you're pretty much laughing.
The other thing is it really doesn't care what's on its bench.
Yeah, as long as there's something there. To be honest, I'm surprised that Empoleon Terrakion doesn't run the Roserade tech itself. Mostly just for the whole fact that it's an extra bench sitter.
Yeah.
But then again, what would you really grab in the list? It's a very straightforward list.
That's a good point.
Let's see. Oh, Garbodor is doing okay as well.
Garbodor's seems to be a card that seems to be talked about a lot, but not sure if it would be good in practice.
I know. I'll be honest. When people started talking about Garbodor Terrakion, I was like, "What? This is a deck?" I was like, "Oh, why? Why would you do this?" It's like it's begging to be sniped off or dragged forward and killed there. It's basically a prize waiting to happen. But the whole fact that it is actually doing well. I mean, I'm seeing 3 obvious combinations here. It's like the most successful ones seem to be the Garbodor Mewtwo variants. There's a Garbodor Terrakion Mewtwo.
Yeah.
We've also got Garbodor Mewtwo and Golurk, which is I like that just for the fact that it mixes up weaknesses as well.
I think it's because Garbodor shuts down a lot of the bigger decks, but the consistency for it is somewhat lacking.
True. I mean, as I mentioned though, one catcher on Garbodor and you could be worried. You could be in a tough situation for a turn 2. It could buy your opponent a turn to manually do what they normally would use the power for.
That would totally depend on the power. If it's something like electric, then they might lose a lot of their deck.
With electric, they have to hope that they can still draw into energy and manually attach it. But to be honest, a turn or 2, they might fall a turn or 2 behind, but I don't think it would completely destroy them.
The thing is that
smart gameplay.
Tool Scrapper is becoming a lot more used now because of the Sun user, because all the X's being able to use Eviolite.
True, and that's another card that will shut down Garbodor. I was like, oh, I rely on powers. Oh, you got rid of my power. Tool Scrapper. There we go. I'm not worried anymore. As something else, the fact that you mentioned Eels itself. Eels could easily take advantage of Garbodor using tools. I mean, if Garbodor's sat there with a large poke on it, you bring out Raikou. You hit it for 100. Oh, it's not locked out because it's got the extra 20 hit points. Next turn, Tool Scrapper. You're taking a prize mid-turn?
Eels wouldn't be able to use Garbodor.
No, I'm saying against Eels versus Garbodor.
Oh right, yes. Well, that's the point.
Yeah, well, no, the fact that you can use it for the mid-turn prize. Your opponent sits there thinking, well, I'm safe, and all of a sudden you're taking a prize at mid-turn. They didn't see it coming. I mean, also the value of a mid-turn prize. I mean, if you draw the right card from your prizes, you pretty much you could gain an advantage you didn't have. If you attacked for the prize.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, you could have more options open to you. And like the key thing you tend to do through your opponent's turn while they're changing the board is try and work out what's the worst thing they could do to you and how do you play your next turn. So if you've got your next turn worked out and all of a sudden you get a card that gives you even more options, you're pretty much planned out. Anything you can pull out would just be, bonus. And I was rambling. Sorry about that. There is one thing I'm liking seeing, it's the fact that people are trying to keep train locking format as well.
Yeah, I don't know how successful that's been.
It's got 3 top 4s, 1 second place. Yeah. To be honest though, it's mostly the fact that Excel Goal these days is really iffy.
Yeah, we lost the Sunflora from Hard Gold Soul Silver.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, having Mu-X in format might help it a bit.
I don't know if the variant here doesn't list Mu-X, but yeah. But then again, searching out Mu-X can be kind of a pain after a short while. I mean, late game.
Yeah, I assume it's easier to set up than getting Excel Goal every turn.
True. I'm mostly thinking just because of how searchable it is. Excel Core, at least you can have level ball for it, but Mu-X is only compatible with Ultra Ball, so it is a good cost every turn.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, if people can make Gothitelle Excel Core work, I will praise them to no end because I'd love me some train lock in this format. Even if it's tier 2, I don't mind running tier 2 train lock. Did all last format.
Yeah, I don't think Gothitelle is going to be able to do as well in this format, unless don't know. I suppose some people could play around with the new stuff from Cold Flare and Feastbolt?
Oh, Cold Flare Feastbolt, yeah.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the new Japanese set with the
Plasma Gale.
Yes, with the became the is it the
I think
stadium? It's a stadium that gets rid of weakness.
Really? Whose stadium is that?
It's the new. If you have a Pokemon with plasma energy in play, that Pokemon has no weakness.
Oh, I think another one you mean. I'll just double check it now so we can get the name.
I can see people trying to use that. But then I'm not sure if we'll just start playing Stadium Wars all over again.
There's nothing wrong with Stadium War, at least it keeps things fresh. Oh, Pokemon Plasma Energy attached have no weakness. It's the Plasma Frigate.
Right.
Or Frigate, or Frigate, depending on who you are and how you pronounce that word. But we'll have a strong focus on the Plasma cards in an upcoming episode.
Yeah.
Although I will say one thing I like about Plasma cards right now, I can see it being very unlikely that they're going to be secret rares or super rare, or ultra rares like X's and Primes, just because of how many there are.
That's true.
Also the fact that you can get a Plasma variant of an X as well, so as I say, we'll cover Plasma later.
Yeah.
So I think there's just one thing left to do before we wrap up the episode, and that's really look at how these numbers could be used to predict regionals and cities. Mostly regionals.
Yeah. I think a lot more people are going to be trying out Garbodor.
I think Garbodor and a lot more fighting is going to be decks will. I think a lot more decks are going to be fighting central. I'm actually surprised that going through this list I can't see a single Groudon. His potential for damage is amazing. I mean, we've got Stonefist on there, but no Groudon, and those guys pair so well.
Yeah, basically what you're going to be seeing is going to be the top decks or counters to the top decks. They're going to be stuff like Garbodor, Terrakion, the shiny Rayquaza, I guess, to counter the Rayquaza X to some degree.
True, it could be a finishing point, or just to put the 80 damage on it. I mean, 80 damage on it means it's 100 away from being knocked out. A lot of Pokemon can easily get towards 100.
I suppose it's Rayquaza one-shot heals too.
Actually, Rayquaza's 170, isn't it?
Yes, I think.
I'm just double checking now. Rayquaza X, if that will get my way. Yeah, it's only 170, so one shot from the secret rare version, and Darkrai takes care of it in one shot.
Yeah, but they are very conflicting energy types.
You run Prism instead, and just hope that you don't really have to rely on Hydreigon's attack, because using Hydreigon to attack is a very last-ditch effort anyway.
It depends on the situation, but I feel that would be more of a dedicated counter deck. I mean, you could easily use both Shiny Rayquaza and Terrakion in the deck with the blend energy.
Oh yeah. I was trying to work out the colours. Yeah, true. I mean, you could actually probably make a very interesting toolbox that way.
Yeah. I suppose you could easily use a Mulga to search everything out.
True, if you're running Prism as well, there's always a chance to stabilize as well as an additional starter. Emolga is going to be more preferable because it's compatible with more energy types in your deck.
Yeah.
I mean, what would that be? What, 4 blend, 4 prism, and probably 2 lightning, 2 fighting?
Something like that.
So that's 12 energies there, so it's a nice even split. Also, I think dragons themselves are going to actually do quite a bit better.
Yeah.
Just with Rayquaza being one of the big hitters. I think people playing Rayquaza to counter Rayquaza, because now that Rayquaza tins have come out, and quite a few people still have like stuff for electric.
Yeah.
Mostly because a lot of people used to play Zeal, so you just basically take out your Zekroms, put in Rayquaza X's, take out the normal Zekrom, put in Raikou.
Yeah. So basically, people are starting
Tweak
to
your trainer line.
play Eels.
Yeah.
I think I said something about this.
Well, when we first got scans, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Back when we were still in Cumbernauld, which was how many months ago? About 6?
Yeah.
To be honest though, it's
If only I could do what we done this.
To be honest though, when we were looking at it, we were thinking it's got a lot of potential, and we were probably thinking it's one of those decks that's got a lot of potential, but people won't look at it.
No,
So
I always knew people would look at it because it has too much versatility. You can add a one-shot stuff or kill pinch cities, and obviously that's working out for it.
I know. I actually thought it'd be one of those that people really wouldn't run it for one reason or another. I just didn't have the right feeling about it. I think this is actually the second time that this has happened between us. I mean, when we first got the scans for Gothitelle, you were all over it, and I was like, I don't know, it could, but it could not. It's like, it worked.
Just shut up.
Ended up running it.
It always works.
Yeah, you just want it for a pretty goth girl.
But no, I'm not sure at the moment. I mean, obviously there won't be any new sets for a while that will really affect the tournament outcome. So it's probably useless talking about anything like that for now.
True. I think the next set we get is going to be Boundaries Cross, which will be probably pre-cities or just for the end of regionals.
Yes.
So it's going to be really hard to try and pan things out from there.
Yeah. I predict. No, actually, that's probably a completely different video. We'll do that later.
Wait, what was that? Sorry.
For what would do well in the Boundaries Cross.
Oh yeah, we'll make another video for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already mentioned Boundaries X. I think that's enough to go off so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also have you basically rage at something that's just been revealed recently, but that's for then. This is now. So I think it's time to sign off. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. I'm Writer Joey.
I'm still Matson.
Until next time, see you later, Space Cowboy.
Wait, what?